Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. I am delighted that you found me and are taking the time to join me. It is September 13th. The debate was last night. I didn't watch it. It's not NBC is not a channel I subscribe to, so I get my news through MSNBC for the United States. But it looked like it was, an interesting debate. It looks like they, continue to try to take shots at each other that kind of fall flat. So that was that. Today I want to take a look at a couple of things. I'm going to do a short, quick, I hope, look at the whole trade situation. And if that doesn't take up too much time, I want to take a look at Pence and see what's going on there with his relationship with Trump. So let's do a quick look-see first on the trade wars with China and what's going on with Trump and why he's behaving the way he is in terms of that. And real quick, for those of you who were concerned about Jerry yesterday, I guess he made some sort of a backwards cameo in the video. He is fine. There's nothing going on with him. He hasn't strained or pulled anything. If anything, I have to tell you, Jerry has spent the entire summer figuring out 100 different ways to squeeze through literally a 3-inch gap in my fencing. He looks like a really big cat, but he actually only weighs like 10 pounds. So he's really skinny under all that fur. And honestly, we have tried everything that we could think of and a few things that we didn't think of. So he continues to do that. And we've discovered the reason he keeps sneaking out is because he has a little Siamese girlfriend 2 doors down, who is pretty nervy, that cat. I'm telling you, yesterday when Jerry was stuck in the backyard, she came marching up to the front door wanting to know exactly where her buddy was. Honestly, feline romance, So I think if you saw anything, you could have seen just a little bit of strain because he keeps trying to squeeze himself into places he should not be squeezing himself into. All right, let's get focused here. We're looking at trade wars. Come on down. So I have a question. What's going to happen with the trade wars? Trump-China trade wars, Trump-China trade wars, Trump-China trade wars. Okay. This was Trump. This was all Trump. Aside from a couple of people who don't know what they're talking about, everybody told Trump this isn't going to work. It's not a good idea. I heard somebody yesterday say something like, it's really dumb to start a trade war with a dictatorship because they're not up for re-election and they don't honestly care that much whether their people approve or don't approve. Where, of course, Trump has hung a whole lot of eggs in the basket of, we're winning huge with the trade wars. We're reaping in money like crazy. Meanwhile, it's going to cost, the average consumer in the United States something like $1,000 more a year as a result of this nonsense. And so far, from my understanding, is that you've lost about 300,000 jobs. And if the sanctions, that's probably not the right word, but anyways, if they stay in place, you're on track to lose another 900,000, and that's not if the October ones go through and the December kind of installment goes through. Now, yesterday, Trump did send out a memo or a tweet saying that in honor of the 70th birthday of something or another in China, he was going to hold back on the October trade increase. So clearly, it's even gotten to Trump's head that maybe this isn't exactly the winning strategy he thought it was going to be. And this is what this is telling us, right? the White House. They were celebrating. They thought it was brilliant. Okay, or Trump and the 2 or 3 advisors who insist that this is a brilliant strategy. He sold it on the information, or he sold it in a way to suggest that everybody was going to benefit from this. This was a wonderful idea. Oh my goodness, you guys would have money falling from the skies. It wasn't going to hurt anybody. Especially, of course, it wasn't going to hurt the agricultural industry, who primarily voted for him, who have now received a significant knife in the back from him. He keeps looking at the money and it's skewed, okay? He's not looking at it correctly. And he's being told things that he doesn't want to hear, be that numbers, like actual statistics, or actual economist views on this. It doesn't matter what he's told. He doesn't want to hear it because, of course, he's the only one that's right. And make no mistake, there are some kind of, and I don't think it's Trump per se right today, but it's definitely, there's family dealings, backroom deals with China that are going on and ongoing. And so he needs to be very careful that he doesn't push forward too much, but that he also backs off a little bit before he really antagonizes. And, again, this is that situation where he's playing checkers with somebody who is playing chess, okay? The Chinese have strategies in place. When they make a plan, it's like for 50, 100 years. When Americans make a plan, it is for a much more compressed period of time, 10, 15 years. When Trump makes a plan, it's till, next Tuesday, okay? So this thing is not going well for him. Again, he's at the point where he's trying to juggle what's going on and the information that's coming out that does not reflect well. He's losing his temper all over the place. He's incredibly volatile right now. He's demanding that people other than him, of course, steer him out of the troubled waters he finds himself in. And, even if they could do it, it would blow up in his face because he can't stay to a specific tactic or story long enough to actually let some of the insanity die down, right? I mean, that's just who he is, right? So he could have people coming out saying, one thing and kind of, this is how we're going to correct this or fix this or, help this along. And then, 2 hours or 6 hours or 12 hours later, he's out on that that White House lawn spouting off nonsense again. And so he shoots himself constantly in the foot. Yeah, this is going to cause big problems. Big problems not only for Trump and his administration. It's going to reflect really badly on the Republicans, because in order to take this stance, they really have had to go against what they previously stood for. That's never kind of a good thing, right? I mean, talk about changing direction with the direction of the winds. And in this case, the wind is that, bag of hot air Trump. In part, this is going to be something that actually brings him down. I come actually from a family of farmers on both sides, actually. Both my mother and my father came from large farming families. And this is their livelihood. This is how they support themselves. This is how they clothe and feed themselves. This is how they take care of their children. They don't forgive quite so fast. They'll take a hit, but man, when it starts impacting them on a serious and significant level, it's time that they're going to hold a grudge and they're going to push back. And this is the problem, that he just, he thinks that everybody can be bought. And he doesn't think that people actually know anything. And he's the only one who knows stuff. And so, he's going to just keep telling his stories. And he believes that people are going to believe him. Well, you know what? They're not. And he's going to be the one who experiences an end and leaves in disappointment and, frankly, disgrace, because you don't go after as large an industry as the agricultural industry of the United States. He really believes that once the trade wars are over, which of course we all know are so easy to win, that all of those previous customers for the U.S. goods are going to come running back saying, pick me, I want to be your customer again. They're not. They have gone to other countries to supply the goods that they need and, frankly, to sell the goods that they need. So it's not going to work out. This is going to be something that takes significant time and, honestly, a lot of diplomacy and a lot of work and a lot of compromise to get this situation back on track. This is one of the reasons it is so paramount that if impeachment or illness does not take Trump out, that he absolutely get voted out, because if he continues this behavior going forward for another 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, he is absolutely going to destroy the U.S. economy and, in fact, the agricultural, what's that word? Diversity and of the country, because they're not going to be able to just snap their fingers and recover from this. So, yeah, again, this is the thing, right? If he sees dollar signs, he'll take on any fight. He doesn't recognize when he's being left out in the cold, when what he says is stupid, it's not acceptable, it's not being agreed upon. He's just mouthing off because that's what he does. There's the fool, there's my card for him. And, he just does not kind of get it, okay? So that's not actually amazingly good news. A competent government coming in will have absolutely the ability and the capacity to sort of fix things. One of the most dangerous things that Trump did was, canceling that CPP agreement, because that at least had put some restraints and some harnesses on China. And, him and his "I can make a better deal, I'm the best deal maker on the planet," has blown up in his face. And honestly, it's going to be really hard to get kind of that sort of an agreement back on track again. It is not just going to fall back into place. So that's where we're at there. Okay, so I want to take a look at Pence, because Mike Pence was, aside from Bolton, he was the other person who was really kind of opposed to the whole "let's invite the terrorists to Camp David because it's going to be a great photo op" situation. And so in doing that, he has actually, put himself in Trump's crosshairs, right? Trump now wants him gone. And I also get the feeling that it's really possible that actually some members of the Trump family aren't really all that enamored of him, in part because his delivery is sort of wishy-washy. So while he stands behind the president and he mimics the words and he says what Trump said and he supports the nonsense, he does it in such a way that is sort of middle of the road. It's kind of mild. It's not like, balloons and firecrackers. It's not loud and excited. It's just very, very monotone. And of course, for people like the Trumps, who see everything in great big showy letters and great big, fireworks displays and ribbon cutting, that isn't That isn't the response that they're looking for from him. All right, so let's ask the question. And the question is: Pence-Trump relationship, Pence-Trump relationship, Pence-Trump relationship. Yeah, okay. So we've got a couple things going on here. Pence is sort of operating under a wee little bit of a delusion. Part of the reason he has behaved the way he has behaved is because he has this sort of fantasy playing out in his mind that with Trump's support, endorsement, he could follow Trump into the presidency. And boy, oh boy, is he ever wrong. Let me just tell you, that's not going to happen. The presidency is in no way, shape, or form part of Trump's destiny. It's not part of his future. I don't see it. So he was literally willing to go against his intellect, his heart, his morals, his beliefs. Didn't matter, because his ambitions overrode those feelings and those emotions. And he has broken the hearts of members within his own family. I would venture to say that the relationship between him and Karen is probably not quite as loving and stable as they would like to project. I think that there's a fair bit of tension and aggravation going on behind the scenes in that situation. Because as anybody who has ever been married knows, there is nothing that is more disconcerting to a relationship when one day you look at your spouse and say, I do not even recognize you. I don't know who you've become. And frankly, I don't like who you've become. That seems to be sort of the dynamic that is playing out behind the scenes with them. So this is the thing. Part of the reason that Pence has now found himself in this precarious position is simply this. One of the reasons that it is said that Melania Trump most supported the Pence as vice president situation, but from the whole Trump perspective, part of why he was attractive was because he was able to garner the support of the evangelicals. Because let's face it, up until, he actually started running for election and put on that white hood of morals, he had no morals. And so it wasn't going to be, someone that the evangelical base just flocked around. So that was why Pence was brought in, because he would draw that evangelical base towards Trump. It was sort of like, well, if Pence endorsed him, then they would too. Well, my oh my, look at what has happened. The evangelicals are so whipped up that they now believe that Trump is the chosen one. And they will go against anybody who appears in any way to be diminishing their chosen one. So bottom line, Pence has outlived his usefulness, because Trump has basically now harnessed the energy that Pence brought in to the campaign, to the presidency, and he has absorbed it into himself. So the evangelicals are no longer listening to what Pence says. They only listen to what Trump says. And when that shift happened, Pence lost any value to Trump. He just lost it. There was no value left that Trump could see. He looks and he looks, but he doesn't see what Pence is bringing to the presidency. Or more importantly, he doesn't see in how Pence is bringing money to the Trump family. This whole debacle with the Scotland trip and the staying in Trump's hotel, that is not a good thing, okay? Because it's not going to go away. There's going to be investigations about it. There's going to be questions that need to be answered. And again, those answers are going to be lies because Trump instructs people to lie for him. But it's going to put Pence in a very, very difficult position. I do not remember what state it is that Pence comes from, but he wasn't exactly popular there. He wasn't considered a brilliant politician there. So where is his value? That he has none. And where is it he can go from here? Into obscurity. That's where he's going to go from here, because there is nothing that anyone frankly finds attractive about him. He's just wishy-washy, and he's spineless, and he's vague, and he offers no sparkle to the Trump presidency. And so, and take all of that and put it aside, the other thing he has done is completely betrayed whatever moral fiber, moral standing, and moral beliefs he had. So he's not going to come out of this in a very good position. There is definitely going to be a bit of a moment where he actually starts to realize it and recognize it. And that's probably going to be about the time that Trump starts humiliating him in public, starts sending out those little balloons to test how people would react if he didn't keep Pence as his vice president going forward. And there is a significant chance that Trump will not, when he sort of carries on with this election, that he's not going to ask Pence to be his running mate. And Trump's going to be looking for somebody who is a little bit more cut out of the same cloth as him. I mean, in some ways, he really would have been far better off if he had gone with like a Chris Christie, because Christie is bombastic as Trump. And so they at least would have synced and talked the same language. The relationship between Trump and Pence has always been tentative. It has always been cool. There is no warming. There is no understanding. There is no friendship. There is no bonding. There is squat between those two. Pence privately thinks Trump is a bit of a fool, and Trump thinks Pence is more boring than, a stick of wood. There is no chemistry or connection between the two of them. So there isn't really a good reason why Trump would actually keep him on, because let's face it, Trump has absorbed all of the energy and all of the adoration from that evangelical base. And let's face it, that really is pretty much all that's going to be left for Trump. Because again, the farmers, the agricultural areas, they are completely losing faith. And if they haven't lost faith yet, watch out. Another 6 months of this, they're going to be like in dire straits, and Trump is going to frankly ignore the fact that they're in dire straits. And so all that really is going to be left of the base is those evangelicals, and they don't need Pence anymore, frankly, because Trump is their chosen one. He is their Messiah. He is who they're going to follow right off the edge of the earth. Remember this, and remember it well. It doesn't matter if at some point you're disappointed, or you recognize what you've lost, or it causes you strain and pain and worry, the devil takes his due. Now, you can either see that devil as an actual devil-like figure. You can see it as a really negative energy, or in this case, you can actually see it as an abundance of karma coming back on you or on them. So, but the reality is, it doesn't matter how you look at it, the devil takes his due. And he's going to take it with Pence, and he's going to take it with Trump. Yeah. You know, they're going to try to spin it. They're going to try to tell stories. They're going to literally try to bend the truth. More information is coming out from behind the scenes, more stuff about dirty money and dirty dealings and underhanded maneuvers. And Pence's hands are not clean either. Make no mistake. It's not exactly like he's like Lily White. He also has some secrets that he would prefer not be exposed. They're not going to be able to say a lot of it. They're just not. They're trapped in the bed they made. More and more information is going to come out that is not going to serve them well. And their fortunes, they are changing. So, there we have that little story. So, in conclusion, you know, the farmers are in for a bit of a rough ride. The tariff situation is honestly, it's going to get worse before it gets better. The impact of it, the ramifications of it are going to be felt by more and more people in a more and more significant and real way. And as far as Pence and Trump, I don't see that partnership going the distance. And I think that Pence has enough stuff in his closet that he wants to keep hidden. And whether that's in areas of his personal life or his business life or his family is irrelevant to me. It's just the fact that he's keeping secrets that eventually are going to come to the surface. And so, you know, there we have it. Trump has no use for Pence. And Pence is getting to a place where he's actually getting kind of scared that there might be a little bit too much nosing around, you know, that's not going to serve him very well. All right. So, thank you for your support. The likes, the subscriptions, the comments are brilliant. All of the animals in this house absolutely are starting to think they're like rock stars because, you know, the whole world seems to think they're adorable and cute. So that's been entertaining. I'm going to be taking the weekend off. I anticipate that going forward, I am probably going to continue to take weekends off. I need that time to sort of recharge and regroup. But know that if something insane happens over the course of the weekend, I will be out here quick as a wick. So until next time, take care. Be well. And I'll see you real soon. Bye.